Welcome everybody to the Fantasy Football Endgame. Big shout out to the Endgame community with us always. If you're new to this channel, welcome aboard. And let's talk about wide receivers now. We already broke down our top 10 running back rankings, not our rankings, but the expert consensus. How do we see that? Okay, should there be some changes? Let's do the same for wide receiver. We're going to take a look at the expert consensus ranking, top 10 receivers in the early portion of the summer, and tell you if we think it's too high or too low. So let's start with number one. So the big question is, Davante Adams, is he still wide receiver one? We know had a great season, one of the, actually arguably a historic season based on his points per game average, but a lot of that was driven by touchdowns and one of the best seasons of Aaron Rodgers' long career. Look, let's just say Aaron Rodgers is going to be back in Green Bay, probably, if everything stays as it is. Is Adams for sure the wide receiver one?
Yes, I think he is. I mean, there are other guys who I could make a case for, but there's no reason not to have Davante Adams number one. Because like you said, I believe strongly that Aaron Rodgers will still be the quarterback. I also believe that there will be regression for both Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers. But guess what? It doesn't matter. He was so far ahead of the other wide receivers, like you said, on a points per game basis, that he could have regression and still be the number one wide receiver, right? This wasn't like, he didn't do anything like Michael Thomas did the year before, like break the record for receptions. Yeah, he had a great year. He was very efficient with his touchdowns. But again, this, like, even with some regression, he'll still be the top scoring wide receiver on a week-to-week basis. So no reason not to have him number one. The panic with Aaron Rodgers should be gone by now. So yes, in my opinion, he's still number one.
So here's the question. If you don't have him number one, it's because you have to have somebody else in his place, right? That's as simple. I do. But it's not because I have any questions about Davante Adams. He's not going to score 18 touchdowns again. We know that, but that's okay. He doesn't have to. He could score 15. He could score 12 touchdowns and still wind up as a wide receiver one unless somebody surpasses him. So as far as Adams, no concerns. Forget the Rodgers thing. It's going to be fine. He'll still be the quarterback there. Adams will still be the top target because obviously they didn't add anybody at wide receiver. Amari Rodgers isn't really going to be a threat. Davante Adams was great. There's no question about it. He's still going to be great. He's still pretty much in his prime. I think 28 years old. But again, 1,374 yards in 14 games. Not historic in terms of overall yardage. So with a touchdown drop, I think he will be really, really good and a solid wide receiver one pick in fantasy. But one of the next guys down here in the top five, I think is my number one. That is DK Metcalf. Put up almost the same yardage as Davante Adams, 10 touchdowns. But here's the thing, it was his second season. This is a guy who is physically gifted and is going to keep getting better. And Russell Wilson is going to cook once again. This offense is going to be better with Chris Carson back. So I know it's a little bit of a leap here, and go ahead and hit me up with a comment. Just tell me how crazy you think it is. But I got DK Metcalf taking the throne as a wide receiver one this year. Now, that aside, let's talk about the next group. We have Tyreek Hill is pretty much the consensus wide receiver two. I don't know that that's going to change. And then we have some guys who are kind of all together in that mix. You have DK Metcalf. You have Stephon Diggs, who's really solid. Chris, do you have any argument with the rest of the top five? Anybody who you think should make a leap or have a switch here?
Well, I know you're not going to like this, but I would actually switch Diggs and Metcalf. I actually have Diggs as my number three. Simply because, I know Russell Wilson's a great quarterback, but the Seahawks don't throw the ball as much as the Bills do. And I know the Bills brought in Emmanuel Sanders, but come on, he's like 33 years old. They have Cole Beasley. He is what he is. I just think Diggs is going to be, he's just going to have another huge target season with Josh Allen. And as much as everybody wants him to run the ball more with Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, they're not going to. They're a pass-first team. That's their MO. That's what works for them. So I just like that, knowing that Stephon Diggs is locked into those 8, 10-plus targets every single week. So I have him a little higher than DK Metcalf. And then I have DeAndre Hopkins rounding out the top five there.
Yeah, I can argue that the only thing with Diggs really is the lack of touchdowns. Like I said, with Metcalf, got double digits. Diggs, I think, only had 6. Allen's running ability near the goal line, that does limit it a little bit. But yeah, Diggs is pretty much as safe as you can get. So I got no qualms if you have him number 3. DeAndre Hopkins, a lot of people kind of going to think he's boring now because he just dominates every season, but he's probably the safest out of all these top 5 picks based on the offense he's in. Now, when we get to the rest of the top 10, we did talk quite a bit about Calvin Ridley and A.J. Brown with the Julio Jones trade. Check out that video. We break it all down in detail. Is Ridley deserving of a top 5 wide receiver pick? Maybe. A.J. Brown, does he move up or down? There's a lot of different debates on what happens with his value with Julio there. Does it help or does it hurt him in terms of his efficiency? But let's talk about the rest of the guys. Justin Jefferson, just absolute monster rookie season. And then you have Michael Thomas, who, again, a lot of people have different opinions on him. And sneaking into the top 10 is Terry McLaurin from your Washington football team. How do you view that top 10? Is there somebody that's missing that you think belongs there?
I actually have Jefferson 6, Ridley 7, Michael Thomas number 8, A.J. Brown number 9, and then at number 10, I have Keenan Allen, who for some reason always gets slept on every year. But I think Keenan Allen, I could almost make a case to put Keenan Allen up ahead of A.J. Brown and Michael Thomas, simply because, just kind of like Stephon Diggs, he's a target monster, racks up the catches, and that Chargers offense, if it's not a top 5 offense this year, then they have to do something, because they have a young stud quarterback. They have the weapons. They have an improved offensive line. There's no reason they shouldn't have, maybe top 5 is a little much, but at least a top 10 offense this year. So definitely Keenan Allen. As all respect to my boy, Terry McLaurin, I have him just outside the top 10. I think Keenan Allen definitely should be in the top 10.
No arguments there. Keenan Allen also, again, tied to a great young quarterback. Not a lot of competition for targets. They didn't bring in anybody new. So definitely no arguments with him. I actually have my 6, 7, 8 the same as you, right? We talk about Jefferson, Ridley, and Thomas. But here's the difference. I have McLaurin at number 9. I really think he's also going to take a little minor step forward with a little more consistent quarterback play, hopefully this year. And then at number 10, I'm going Allen Robinson. Look, he put up 1,250 yards with that, whatever you want to call it, rotation of quarterbacks last year, Trubisky and Foles. Dalton, maybe not a major upgrade. He's going to be better, right? He's more consistent. And then once we see Justin Fields, who knows? Sky's the limit there. Allen Robinson might, for the first time in his career, play with a legit franchise quarterback. Okay, so I think Allen Robinson has to be in the top 10. A.J. Brown, I have just a little bit outside the top 10. So a little spoiler for our video, we talk about him in terms of the Julio Jones deal. I think he's being a little overvalued. Again, the volume just isn't going to be there quite as much with the guys we just talked about. I'd rather have that alpha, right? The guy who is definitely going to be a target hog in his offense. Michael Thomas is going to be, Terry McLaurin's going to be, and Allen Robinson definitely is going to be. But other than that, really no qualms with the rest of that top 10. That has been our take on the wide receiver consensus. Again, check out that running back video. We do the exact same thing. What do you think? Who belongs in this top 10? Who doesn't? And who are you targeting as your guy on draft day? Let us know. And of course, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Appreciate it.